Can I roll some? Can I keep it lit? Can I smoke some? Can I be about a grip? Can I stack up? Can I say money talk? I don't flap guns. Can I play it low key? Masked up? Can I keep it on me? Stay strapped up? Can I hit it face down? Ass up? Can I say we ahead of our time? They can't lap us.
Hey. Welcome to My Version's Better right here on the Rumboys Fantasy Network. We are your hosts, Bogard Scott Free.
And Blitzed with Blake.
How you doing, BWB?
Oh, I'm just, I'm doing all right. It's a beautiful day.
Getting money.
Beautiful day.
He's getting money.
Oh, yeah.
You know you're in a good mood when you're getting money. Hey, you know what else puts me in a good mood?
What is that?
Special live edition. We got a phenomenal panel for you guys out there, all you run boys and girls. We're going to go ahead and introduce one by one. And first, representing the NFL Network and the NFL Network's own Michael F. Florio, and the F stands for fantasy. What's happening, Michael Florio?
Thank you for that introduction. I'm so happy to be on with you guys.
Hey, man, welcome
Thanks for coming.
Welcome aboard the pirate ship. So wait, real quick. Does the F stand for fantasy?
Yeah, my parents had some really good foresight, and they that was my middle name when I was born. So it just worked out.
See, Blake owes me money. We actually had money on it. and listen, even if it didn't stand for fantasy, my version's better. You know what I'm saying? And next up, we're gonna go ahead and introduce a familiar face on the pirate ship. He's representing clock management. It's my man Justin, aka White Chocolate. Hey.
What up, man? And how fitting is it that your last two initials, Mike, are FF, right?
Yeah, if only you guys knew. I have a third name as well that also has an F in it. It is way too many Fs for one person.
Hey, you know what I mean? Listen, you say too many, I say not enough. You know what I mean?
You can never have too many Fs.
Yes.
No, my high school disagreed.
Oh man. Well, check this out, Run Boys and Girls, on this second edition of My Version's Better, and a very special live edition. We had to bring aboard the Admiral himself, our man, CEO of the Run Boys Fantasy Network, Robbie J. What's happening, Admiral?
What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you, Bogart, for getting this booking together. And we're going to have a great show. Cheers to me. Cheers to you, all the Run Boys and Girls. What it do, NFL Network. Thank you for allowing Mr. Florio to join us this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, I made a few phone calls. You know what I mean? I made a call. We got the word from up top. You know what I mean? That Florio got the clearance. You know what I'm saying? And look at that. Here we are here, floating on the pirate ship across the fantasy seven seas. And we got a whole bunch of isms we're going to get to today. And before we get to that, we just want to shout out our sponsors. You know what I'm saying? First up, we got to shout out monkeyknifefight.com. Run Boys and Girls, head on over to monkeyknifefight.com. Download the MKF app. Get in on this legal, legit fantasy daily props. I mean, or got dyslexic there. You know what I'm saying? Daily fantasy props. You know what I mean? And if you use promo code RUNBOYS, we're going to go ahead and match that first deposit all the way up to $50. Hey, baseball's around the corner. Basketball's in full effect. Props up the yin yang. Props up the wazoo. Head on over to Run Boys. I do that. Head on over to monkeyknifefight.com. Promo code RUNBOYS, all caps and no cap. We matching that thing up to $50. Hey, my man Admiral Robbie, let us know who else is bringing this lovely program, My Version's Better, to Run Boys and Girls.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys look at the top corner right above Mr. Florio, you will see the SportsMe emblem. I want you guys to go ahead, whether it is Apple or Android, head on off into your app store and look for that emblem. Type in SportsMe. Download the SportsMe app today. You can battle any one of the four. It could be maybe 5 of us that you see, depending on how Mr. Florio feels after this show today. Download the SportsMe app. You can go 1v1 versus any of your favorite analysts, crew versus crew. Put your podcast against another podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the SportsMe app, the battleground, the official battleground of the Rum Boys Fantasy Network, here to bring you differentiating opinions of some of your favorite analysts and athletes across the sports industry. Check out SportsMe and sportsme.com. Download the app today. Dilly dilly.
Yeah, SportsMe, give me money.
And you don't even have to be an analyst for SportsMe. You just have to have a take on something for sports.
Yeah.
Hey, there's some little kids on that app. Going to war with these kids, bro. I'm like, listen, you're tall enough to get into the arena. Let's go.
You are the SportsMe savage.
Yes, I am the SportsMe savage. You know what I'm saying? And okay, so I mean, we all didn't wake up just 10 minutes ago, so we're all aware of this breaking news. But Blake, let us know.
So breaking news, J.J. Watt signs with the Arizona Cardinals. Is J.J. Watt chasing a bag or is he chasing a ring?
Let's go start this thing off with my man Mike Florio.
I think he's chasing a ring, right? Like I'm a big believer in Kyler Murray. I think he could win it all. I think he has the talent and D-Hop around him. I mean, maybe they need to go out and get him a second piece or two to throw the ball to, but I think they have all the pieces. I think they have the QB at least to win it all. So if he's signing with Kyler Murray, I think he's going for a ring.
Okay, I like that. You know, I like his version so far. You know what I mean? Clock, what you got for me, Clock?
So I think he's not going for one or the other, right? Because like if he wanted just the ring, I think there's easier paths. The NFC West is not an easy path to a ring. So I think that he wanted a team that he could make it there, but still get a big bag. Like, let me get paid, but also on a team that has a chance for a championship.
Okay, so you talking a little bit of A and a little bit of B here. Okay,
yeah, mix them together a little bit.
I like your versions, tantalizing. Admiral, what you got for me?
We already know what I'm about to say. Okay, there is a certain point when fantasy meets reality. Michael, you know exactly what I'm talking about and who I'm quoting when I say that. All right, shout out to Mr. Rank, the big bro over there at the network as well. Okay, listen. Kyler Murray was QB3 last year. Now, I do believe that regression can happen, okay, at some point. But when you have a defender on the edge like J.J. Watt, we're going to see what happens with that Chandler Jones contract that's going to present you opportunities to get you the ball back. Oh, well, that's a hell of a lot more opportunities to run. That's a hell of a lot more opportunities to throw. And guess what that means, ladies and gentlemen? More opportunities to put points on the board, more opportunities to get you closer to a Super Bowl. Don't be surprised if maybe J.J. Watt knows something that we don't know. We can't just base the Arizona Cardinals and the Red Sea off of last season. During the offseason, things change. The NFL is a business. And just like in business, you can make one move and one decision and make one deal and close one deal, and that could change your whole life and your whole future.
Well, we actually have a surprise special guest, J.J. Watt. Blake, catch him in, Blake.
Yeah, I'm getting him on the phone right now.
Okay,
him and Schefter are both going to join us today, too.
All right, but okay, Blake, what you think? What's your take on this?
No, I agree with Clock, dude, because I think he chased the money, but he also he put himself in a position to potentially get a ring, but he definitely chased a bag, no doubt about that, because he got overpaid, in my opinion. Through and through.
Yeah, I'm like a recency bias kind of guy, and recency bias for J.J. Watt could stretch the last couple of years. He's been injury guaranteed, and I don't think he's like an every down player at this point in his career. But the cards are paying him like he's won. You know what I mean? So I think he's smart. He's a little bit in it for the bag and the ring, all at the same time. Because we got to remember, what is it, down to week 17? If Kyler Murray wasn't banged up, maybe they beat the Rams, and that would have punched their ticket into the dance. So this is a team, you know what I mean, that I feel like, even though it's a tough division, you know what I mean, you still have Russell Wilson in them. They seem to fizzle out at one point in the year. The Niners, we're gonna have a pilgrimage of players leaving because we have 40 free agents to deal with. You know what I mean? And then you have the Rams, who are their Rams are, to me, are still the favorite, even with Stafford. But I will say this: Russell Wilson, he's definitely tripping right now because he's like, damn.
He's scared.
He's like, damn. He has to deal with the Niners, Nick Bosa and company. Then he has to deal with, Aaron Donald and company. And now, you add J.J. Watt to, Chandler Jones and Isaiah Simmons, etc. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Especially because this one came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I didn't hear nothing about no cards or nothing. You know what I mean? So
what I found. I'm sorry, Bogart, but I just want to toss in a little bit of comedy here. Was that when the homie Adam Schefter tweeted the list of 4 Arizona Cardinal players that have retired. I went to Arizona, retired as Cardinals. He goes, Emmitt Smith didn't necessarily retire because he signed the 1-day contract with the Dallas Cowboys, retired the Cowboys. But he goes, Emmitt Smith, Edgerrin James, Alan Francona, and it was somebody else. And he was like, J.J. Watt's the next one. That's what I found hilarious. Like,
did you say Edgerrin James? Did you say him already?
Yeah, was it Edge? Yeah, I said Edgerrin James. Okay. I said Edge.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I guess they go to the big toaster when it's time to go, to go to that big old apartment in the sky for all the old players when they go to Arizona to die, or what is that?
That's where like normal people go to retire too. So
that makes sense, right?
Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns. Yep, you're right. Yeah, it's a trend.
All right, so we're gonna get on to this first topic, and this one is like, I almost change my ideology every year based on how my previous year's results, because the tight end position is very, very scarce. You know what I mean? It's very pivotal. A lot of times you see the winning teams have either a top tier tight end or a breakout tight end that they ended up finding somewhere along the way. So now in 2021 12-team redrafts, are we utilizing the early tight end strategy, or do we exercise the wait till the mid round to later round tight end strategy? Florio, pop this one off.
For me, the answer is either or. Like I think you need, like, for this season, I'm fine taking one of the big 3 tight ends, the big 3 being Kittle, Waller, Kelsey. I did a mock draft today with Marcus Grant, and I took Darren Waller in round 3. He took Travis Kelsey in round 1. And it's something that the two of us talk a lot about on the podcast, is like, get yourself the tight ends early, because they like having Travis Kelsey is like having a top 5 tight end, wide receiver at the tight end position. But if I miss out on those 3 tight ends, I am not doing it anymore, where I convince myself that the 6th or 7th round tight end is finally going to be the year that those guys live up to expectations.
Ingram's going to break out this year.
Last year I was on Ingram and Tyler Higbee.
Me too. I'm guilty as charged.
Did not work at all.
Meanwhile, I'm telling everyone, no, Ingram, no, never Ingram. I feel it.
So if I miss out on those big 3, I'm going to wait till the double-digit rounds, although I feel like my guy who in the early best balls I've been getting, but he's going to climb with today's news. I've been waiting on Irv Smith Jr. in the double-digit rounds. Cole Kmet, Troutman from New Orleans in like the 15th round is someone I could see. So I'm just, if I don't get a big 3, I'm just waiting till the double-digit rounds. I'm going to try to get 2 or 3 upside shots, because maybe one of them will hit.
How high do you think Irv Smith goes?
He's going to get hyped because of people like me.
Is he going to be this year's Hayden Hurst? He's this year's Hayden Hurst, isn't he?
Yeah, except for hopefully better.
Yeah.
Actually performs.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat that Irv Smith drum along with you, bro, because that was actually a shout out to SportsMe. I actually dropped the take about him last week before the news.
I heard someone actually on SportsMe earlier today on something Robbie dropped, right? Talking about in a tight end premium, Irv Smith is a 1st round pick. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Oh, wow. I mean,
I'm gonna have some words for that person.
Yeah.
This interview.
I got you, Rob.
Okay, well, Clark, what are we doing here, Clark? When you're in the draft, what you talking about?
I want to say yes. Like, I'm all in on this, going tight end early. Unfortunately, every time a draft comes along and I'm actually drafting, when it gets there, I can't pull the trigger and I end up grabbing a running back in the first couple rounds. I need to get at least those 2 solid running backs, because I agree with what Mike was saying with the you get Kelsey, that's a top end wide receiver. Basically, you're putting in your tight end slot. But I tend to go running back heavy at the beginning of the draft, which makes me miss out on that. So I would love to have it, but I just seem to miss out on it. So I usually end up going with the late tight end, because I completely agree with these mid-round tight ends. You have just as good of a chance as landing your shot on a late round one. So Commit is one of my favorite ones. He had 90% of the snaps in the last 5 games of the season. Their team threw the ball in the red zone to the tight end, the 3rd most in the NFL during that span. So I'm huge on this guy. Rob, you'll like this one. Logan Thomas is another one I'm huge on.
You took my Wolverine. What you thought?
Yeah.
I love it.
I got a bunch of stats back that one up too. But one I don't like is Tanyan. I thought I was gonna like him. The more I looked into it, the less I liked him.
Well, especially when you watch the film. When you watch the
4
film,
targets per game.
Yeah, exactly. George Kittle had 4 more targets than him on the season.
Bro, he led the league. He led the league in touchdowns for a tight end, bro. It's gonna happen again, bro.
Yeah, George
Kittle,
Kittle, who didn't play. Like, I don't even remember George Kittle playing this season.
What killed me about what killed me about Tanyan last year is as I go on Twitter every day, and especially with a lot of the film heads, and I sometimes you have film heads that are film heads in the off season, but then you have film heads that during the actual fantasy season they kind of just stop watching. They only watch the app and the fantasy points on their phone. And I always tell guys, watch how many targets actually he is getting. And then when you go back and you look at the
and he's back.
stats, and then when you have the film to sit back and you can justify that, then you're just really sitting back here like, oh. So when I say today in 2021 that I'm not drafting Robert Tanyan, you guys can't come at me and be like, oh, well, you've had too much rum. Listen, we're called the Rum Boys Fantasy Network, but I ain't out here every day, okay?
Hey, listen, give me all the big
Bob.
Bob Tunyon. If I can get him in like the 6th or 7th round, you know what I mean?
Do you?
I'm giving him. So while you're at it, like what do you what strategy are you adopting in 2021?
So me personally, if I have the ability, maybe the option and the privilege more so to be able to get an early round tight end, then I am definitely going to do so. But if I am not in that position, then I'm doing exactly what our brother Florio just said there in the top panel, the top box of the panel. I'm going to wait. You guys know I'm a big Cole Kmet truther. I have him in practically every dynasty roster that I possibly can because I was just like everyone was the public was saying, oh well, he moving to receiver, he's better at a receiver, he can't play tight end, this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, I was sitting back and I'm like, well, I'm automatically going to fade the public on that one, and I went the other way. Irv Smith, look, I'm biased on Irv Smith, so I can't really drop an Irv Smith take because, well, everyone in the chat already knows that I interviewed Irv Smith Jr. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to let you guys click on that clip and let that talk for itself. But with that being said, with that being stated, I'm willing to take in the mid rounds. If I did have to go mid round, I'm willing to take the reach on Irv Smith and hankering that one down just because it is going to be a reach.
Buying all the risk. You don't think you're buying all the risk by drafting.
But I'm gonna take that risk. I'm also the risk to get the biscuit guy. You know, right. So I'll take that risk.
Better be good.
Yeah, I'll take that risk in the mid round. Right now, they're not looking at a solution for 12 personnel.
Because those are awesome.
If he falls, they're the flakes. These are Grand Flakes biscuits. You know.
Okay.
But that's where I'm leaning, and I'm willing to take the reach on it. Irv Smith, like Florio said, guys like himself. I'm gonna even put myself in that category. I'm going to be out here beating the Irv Smith drum. I dropped the news on SportsMe today. I interviewed him. It'd be crazy for me to not after 3 years of doing this to not have him on my career. I need you, Irv Smith.
6th round, here we come.
Yes. 6th round. I was gonna say 7. I was gonna say 7. So we're kind of. I was gonna say 7 for the wraparound.
The later the
better. Yes. The later the better. BWB, what you got for me? Don't tell me any Steelers tight ends, please.
Eric Ebron, bro. No, I'm playing.
Eric Ebron. Hands Ebron.
He's gonna be the next McDonald.
Dude, I'm still salty. That was the big offseason move. So my opinion is this: like, if you can get Kelsey, Waller, or Kittle early on, take them. Other than that, there's plenty of talent you can get in the later rounds. Like I had Waller this season, but then I picked up TJ Hawkinson later on in the draft, and I was perfectly bingo Hawkinson. And I was perfectly comfortable putting him in the game if I didn't want to put Waller in the game, but I played Waller every week, obviously. But I just think there's enough talent at the tight end position where if you can't get either of any of those three, play your cards, pick up some other guys, and wait. That's my take.
You know what's crazy is there is a large portion of the fantasy community that is a streaming tight end strategist. You know what I mean? I can't play that game. You know what I mean? And so with that said, bro, I'm an early tight. I'm an early tight end guy this year I think it's going to depend on the placing in the draft. Like if I'm early in the draft, you know what I mean? When I'm coming around that 2-3, if Kittle's there, I can't resist. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like I'm shored up in that spot, and I feel like he would finish, either, top 3 in his position or a top 12, a receiver who I might be targeting at that said spot. You know what I mean? But if more than likely, I'm like my man Clock here. I pussy out, man, and I get the running backs right there, and then I end up I end up convincing myself of
that they're going to be there later.
Or even that I'm going to wait on last year I was hitting Hurst and Jonnu Smith everywhere, and I thought I was a genius until I wasn't. You know what I mean?
You are a genius.
And evil genius or madman was sufficed. You know what I mean? But if I'm gonna go mid rounds, I'm gonna target a guy that people kind of are shitting on, and that's Mark Andrews. You know what I mean? I feel like if I can get a Mark Andrews in the 5th round, you know what I mean? Because I've just seen him in these mocks. I know it's way early, but people just they recency bias, man. They just remember him dropping passes in the end zone.
Yeah.
I really like. And it's a Greg Roman system, that the tight end's always a focal point.
Well, what I like about what you just said there, Bogard, is that it allows in of course a perfect world, you could go running back, and then receiver, and then in that 5th round, Mark Andrews could potentially be there for you. I see. Maybe I'm too much like Rick and Morty, Rick Sanchez opening up an alternate dimension, but I do see an alternate dimension, an alternate reality where Mark Andrews could be sitting there for you, even in your home league, even in an analyst league, at the 5th, in the 5th round.
Mark Bad Andrews.
Correct.
There it is. I'm going to start campaigning that he's Mark Bad Andrews, so we can try our best to drop the ADP. Right? We're going to, as a community, and secretly we're getting all the Mark Andrews shares. Diabolical. You know what I mean? Okay, so. BWB. Hit us off with that next topic.
For sure. So let's talk 2021 sophomore running backs. Which sophomore running backs are you targeting in 2021 redraft leagues? Florio, why don't you start us off, man?
Yeah,
I think it'll be easier. I think it'll be easier to tell you guys which second-year running backs I'm not targeting because I love so many of them. I in this mock I did today, I took Jonathan Taylor 3rd overall. I chose the 3rd pick to ensure that I would get Jonathan Taylor. And then I was hoping that I would get one of these second-year running backs in round 2. DeAndre Swift didn't make it to me. James Robinson didn't. Cam Akers didn't. So I settled for Antonio Gibson, who I also like a lot. I like all of those guys. Yeah, I think all of them are RB1s this year. I'm really high on DeAndre Swift now that Anthony Lynn is there. I think Cam Akers, having Matt Stafford, who both rose to running backs 10% more on average than Jared Goff, and is a down-the-field thrower more than Goff, which will open things up near the line of scrimmage. I love Akers. James Robinson, I think I'm probably more worried about him than the other guys, and that seems silly to me after the year he just had. But so I like the one second-year running back that I'm most worried about, I would say, is J.K. Dobbins. Not because I don't love his skill set, because I think he's awesome. I think he can go in the same round as those other guys. But Gus Edwards is not going to go away. Lamar Jackson is obviously going to get a lot of points with his legs and vulture some touchdowns. And then he's not really going to throw to Dobbins a whole lot. So he's the one that has me most worried. But I love this year 2 class of running backs.
Right? It's kind of reminiscent of the 2017 class where there's just so many. It's a plethora of guys that are in good situations, not just being talented, they're actually in good situations. And to touch on real quick before we move on the clock, to touch on the J.K. Dobbins thing is, they're going to get another running back. You know what I mean? They usually have a stable of 3, and that 3rd guy doesn't really come in all that often, but he still exists. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a
he's a body.
Yeah, and then you got, like you pointed out, you got Action LaMarvelous. I was gonna say Action Jackson, but that's already taken. But yeah, LaMarvelous, bro. Like he be vulturing them things too. So, but yeah, Clock, what you got for me? I know you got something out the box.
Yeah. So first, I agree completely. Swift is one of my favorite ones. Like you're saying with Lynn there, Lynn last 5 years has targeted the running back 30% on 30% of the snaps. So that's a huge target share for him. He also said he sees him as a bell cow back. He should be there be out there 3 downs. So, I mean, all great news. Some of that could be coach speak. I mean, we hear it every year, but like, I believe it was Swift. So he has me convinced.
Swift is the only player that the player he replaced was like, yeah, he should have took my job weeks ago.
Right.
Hey, he really did say that.
And everyone watching the game was like, yeah, you're right. And then the other guy,
too, man, just super game script proof. Well, yeah, go on, my bad.
Yeah, oh no, you're good. And then the other guy that I want to talk about that I think no one is talking about. In fact, I know no one's talking about it because I Googled this guy trying to get some more information, and there were no articles about him I could find in the last year since
go
December.
ahead.
But that's LaMichael Pirine, because right now he doesn't. He's the friend. Who else is getting the ball for the Jets?
I don't know.
Right now, until the draft happens or they sign another running back, he's going undrafted, and like he's the only running back there. We have a completely new offense coming in. We have a new head coach coming in. Their team is going to improve, and he's going to be the guy getting the ball. He's not Frank Gore. He's faster than Frank Gore, so he'll get some, and he's more versatile. Probably because he's not from the leather helmet age of football. Yeah, but if they don't bring anyone in, then he's going to get slept on, and you could grab him with your last pick, and he'll be worth it.
You know what?
Last pick, Mr. Irrelevant. Okay.
I do want to touch on that. If Michael Florio goes over there and he implicates any kind of Shanahan ripoff system, you know what I mean? Any kind of copycat system, we're gonna like whatever running back emerges as like the dominant toucher. You know what I mean? Out of the backfield, because if it is a Shanahan style offense, there's gonna be more than one running back. But still, I like how he's gonna be for free at least. Like that guy's for free. You know what I mean?
That free 99.
Yeah, he's free. You know what I'm saying? Robbie, what you got for me?
I definitely don't have Michael Pirine for you. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I had to go deeper. I had to go beyond the surface of these initial guys that everyone remembers.
He's like a spy.
I mean, I hope that you hit on that. I like that you did clear that up. I like, because I was about to SportsMe you right in the middle of this podcast and be like, listen to what Justin, the SportsMe ambassador.
I'll be on there. Don't worry, I got you.
Heck, I'll be on there, bro. I was ready to go in.
Michael Pirine battle is gonna.
It's gonna set SportsMe on fire.
The Jets fans are like, "Oh my gosh, Justin's on our side." No, for real. I'm gonna keep it player as we like to see here on the Run Boys Fantasy Network. And I got to rock with the homie Cam Akers, because Cam Akers was a guy last year. Bogard, as my co-host on Run Boys NFL AM, that Cam Akers was a guy that I had flip-flopped on. Like the tape had always
he definitely came around.
He made me come around. So I'm very high on Cam Akers. I'm grabbing Cam Akers everywhere that I possibly can. If you are in a league with me, in a dynasty league, yo, hit my line,
Should we start shitting on Cam Akers' name too to try to drive his ADP down?
I mean, maybe we could possibly make that happen. But no, aside from him, I know that we're going to talk rookies a little bit later, but I am in love with Memphis running back / receivers, whatever you want to call them. And I'm also going to go with Antonio Gibson. No, that's not just because, hey, yes, I'm a Washington football team.
The Desperado Antonio Banderas Gibson?
Antonio Banderas Gibson.
Yes.
I am in with that all the way, especially because we don't know what Heineke is going to be yet. We don't know if we're going to bring in a quarterback. If we bring in,
what Scott Turner's going to do.
Exactly. If we bring in a offensive lineman through the draft, Darius Shaw out of Virginia Tech. Yes, bias again. If not Darius Shaw, then out of Northwestern Slater, because he completely erased Chase Young off of the stat sheet when Ohio State faced Northwestern. And if we get Slater, then
remember
I love Gibson even more, and I love this team even more. So that's where I'm leaning. James Gray, I saw you in the chat about that A.J. Dillon with Green Bay take. That's right now.
Hey, shout out Dr. Gray.
That's why I defer to Bogard because he's an A.J. Dillon.
Okay. That was where I was gonna go because you know what I'm saying. I mean, I had several bullets in the chamber. You know what I'm saying, but I figured I would land on the A.J. Dillon one because I know, you know, a lot of people differ on this, and I am a guy that doesn't believe in Aaron Jones getting signed or franchise tagged. You know what I mean? So, and I live in a world where they probably will bring back Jamal Williams because he is a phenomenal pass protector. You know what I mean? So yeah, they might hurt A.J. Dillon's third down work initially, you know what I mean? Because this kid, he could be a 3-down back. I mean, Matt LaFleur, you know, this is his Derrick Henry ripoff. You know what I mean? This is his version of Derrick Henry because he was in Tennessee and
his version's not better.
Yeah, his version's not better. No, clearly, better. But A.J. Dillon, I mean, and I feel like this organization has to do this because they looked foolish last season drafting him in the second round. You know what I mean? And it's still a Matt LaFleur system, so you're gonna love the running back that's there. Early down work, he's the bigger guy that's gonna be all the goal line work. It's an offense that can move the ball, so they're gonna get a lot of red zone appearances. So I like A.J. Dillon. I just hope he doesn't pull full Herb Smith and get hyped up. You know what I mean? Get hyped up like I would love him in the mid round, like you know, maybe not the mid round, maybe fourth round. I think that's where he'll end up falling to or rising to at one point when it settles. You know what I mean? But BWB, what you got for me?
All right. So obviously, I'm gonna go a little bit against the grain here. I'm a huge fan of James Robinson. Huge. Yeah. Been watching him since he was in high school football. He played against my high school football team. I didn't play. I was in the band though, so I watched the game.
So you had good seats then.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic seats. We got to on the kickoff.
I've heard this story. You had front row seats to the craziest shit ever.
Yeah, dude. So I remember we had like a 6'2" cornerback. He's one of my good buddies. He was actually our starting shortstop on the baseball team. He's standing straight up. James Robinson gets a handoff, goes around the edge on the left-hand side, jumps over a standing like individual 6'2", just full out jumps over him. And in Illinois, it's a flag. You can't jump over someone that's standing straight up. So he got flagged, and I was like, that is probably the most gangster flag I've seen in high school football ever. Like to be like, hey, I mean, you can't do that. Just throw the flag out there. I think he's a beast, but I'm also going to go against the grain here. And I know there's going to be some mixed feelings about this, but look for that boy, Anthony McFarland. I'm just saying. Oh, these
Steelers fans.
Listen,
I'll take my P. Ryan.
I'll take Zach Moss then.
Oh man!
No, I love how nobody mentioned Zach Moss. Like nobody.
There was so much hype on him last year too.
Singletary 2.0.
Josh Allen is the running back there that you want to own. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Talk that ism, Mike. Talk that ism. I love it.
And so, you know, I did want to ask one question to y'all before we move on. I mean, because I'd have the most mixed feelings about J-Rob the Mob, my man James Robinson. You know what I mean? I mean, that back of the second round, I mean, we're literally chasing last year's ism to put him there. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole new system. I mean, someone can make the argument Urban Meyer had Zeke in Ohio, and like I even went back to look at Zeke's touches, and I was like, okay, so do I beat this drum for James Robinson? Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't know what it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, how are you guys gauging James Robinson?
If you don't mind, because I actually wanted, and I'm actually going to just completely concede to Mr. Florio here, because I actually had a question when he brought up the James Robinson during his first take. Do you think that amongst industry analysts, the general consensus or the general thought process or psychology behind this is that he's an undrafted free agent, and that's why we're hesitant?
I'm sure that goes
up there right now. My bad, Mike. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think that goes into it. I mean, he's still going in like the early second round in a lot of early drafts. For me, though, he's one of the harder players to figure out because on one hand, I could see him getting a lot of opportunity with Urban Meyer. And also, they're going to score more points than they did this past year. But also, everything kind of broke perfect for James Robinson to break out last year. They cut Leonard Fournette. Ryquell Armstead had COVID all year. His backups were hurt. Chris Thompson was a ghost. So there was no one else there at all that they could have given the ball to. Are they going to have that same situation next year? I expect them to bring in a complimentary back. And also, Trevor Lawrence is awesome, but one thing that Trevor Lawrence is awesome at is selling is the option near the goal line, right? Like he sells that handoff better than anyone and can scramble out and run and 8+ touchdowns every year in college. I'm a little bit concerned if he vultures some of those touchdowns away, but he only had 5 carries inside the 5-yard line last year, James Robinson. So could they still go up? He is one that is really hard for me to figure out exactly where to place him.
You brought the tape aspect into it, and I just want to say that thank you. I'm complete now. You complete me, Michael. You complete me.
Should we leave the stream? Leave you guys alone.
Mic drop.
Dim the screen.
That was. Hey, I don't even need an autograph. That was it right there. Thanks, bro. Go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna say, go ahead, Clock. Actually, yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what you got.
What are we talking? Are we still talking about James Robinson? Yeah. Okay, just making sure.
James Robinson thoughts.
I was like, okay, but no, I agree. I think
I'm asking for a friend.
I have, if he falls to the back of the second round, then I really like him. I'll probably take him at the back of the second. But yeah, like you said, with Armstead having COVID all year, he was the only option for them. They had to, they brought in Washington scraps to get Thompson there, and they just didn't even use him once he was there. I think that was just out of desperation.
That was a Jay Gruden thing.
Yeah, and out of desperation because there was nothing. They couldn't get anyone else, so he had to be the only guy there. I mean, he definitely earned everything he has. I mean, came in undrafted.
My team in your tape. You just couldn't resist, did you?
Well, they're scraps. I mean, what they left, to over. They didn't want anymore.
I got something for you later.
But
I want to say this though. If I'm in a draft, I think I'm probably curving James Robinson if it was right now. I'm curving him just because there's too many question marks, and people can make their case, and I'll just tell them my version's better. You know what I mean? But so BWB hit us off. Oh no, this next one is me, right? All right.
The next one's you.
What in the Michael F. Florio are we doing with Miles Sanders and Joe Mixon, aka Booby Sanders, aka Sir Joe Mix-a-Lot? He likes touchdowns and he cannot lie.
I forgot these banners the whole time. I apologize. I forgot that.
It's all good.
No one's doing that.
No one's ever used my initial in that way, so I love that. That was so well done. I don't. Yeah. Oh, the running backs. Yeah. Miles Sanders is someone I can definitely go back to, especially if, stop messing with Jalen Hurts. Let's just say he's the starter. That's my opinion right now. And if he is, I mean, come on, how can you not get excited for Miles Sanders in the option with Jalen Hurts? I mean, last year in Jalen Hurts' first start, he went up against a Saints defense that hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 50 games, and Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts rushed for 100 yards in that game. So, that just shows you how, in my opinion, what the ceiling is. I love that you're getting a discount on him because of the down year he had last year. You don't have to pay an RB1 price. You get him as a middle RB2 in a lot. And then Joe Mixon is one that I have Joe Mixon bias, and that's probably a mistake because after ranking him as an RB1 for so long, I'm just I can't do it anymore. And now you can get him as an RB2 with Joe Burrow, a year 2 Joe Burrow there. It's probably going to be his breakout year and probably the year you want to own Joe Mixon, or roster him. But as of right now, I'm just sitting here I don't really love Joe Mixon.
So I'm not gonna lie, Mike. And
yes, you are the resident.
You can
hater.
I am the resident Joe Mixon hater. 3 years in running, baby, and we gonna keep this thing going. Mike, you were one of the personalities that whenever you would bring up a Joe Mixon tape back in the day, I would find myself yelling, "No, God, please, no!" okay? Because I knew that people were gonna go and do it, and like I would do my show, and then people would be like, "Well, you're wrong because Michael at Florio said." I'm like, "Listen." But here's what I see, but this is what's great about us being analysts in the industry where we all see different things. Me personally, I'm staying far away from Sir Joe Mixon. He likes big runs. He cannot get them. Sometimes it's occasionally. That's all that happens when Joe Mixon.
Your version, just because of that, your version's better. I swear to God.
Now, what I will say between these two. Now, listen here, Coach. You know what's going to happen when Booby go out there and do. He going to do it in them black nights, baby. Let me spin, Coach. As an RB12, ending as an RB12 last year, I think that the he ends somewhere around that same area, even with Jalen Hurts being able to create plays on his legs. I think that Miles Sanders, maybe we're looking at RB15 at the worst. No less than 16.
I like it so high end. We're talking high end.
He's an RB2. Yeah, either one of these could be an RB2 or a Mixon.
Clark, let me know. Let me know about Sergio Mix-a-Lot and Booby.
All right, so I mean, both these guys got potential, and like I really like both of them this year, actually. Because of where they're going, though. That's why.
And when I talked to you this morning too, you weren't on that. You weren't on that side of the fence. He calls me back. He's like, I looked at all the numbers. I think I'm on this side now.
Yeah. So, but there's a reason for it. It's because of where they're being currently. I mean, ADPs are skewed right now, right? Because who's drafting. But yeah, I know exactly. But that's the point, Florio. We don't have our average, your average fan out there drafting. It's us psychos doing it.
Yeah.
So Joe Mixon, he's currently the RB11 and overall 17th running back player off the board, which means you're getting him at the back of the second round, right?
Yeah.
And then same with Miles Sanders that's Miles Sanders. Joe Mixon is even further back. He's the overall 24th player off the board. So you could get these guys, if they fall to me in the third round, I'm in on this. But I'm probably even grabbing them in the second round, in the back end of the second round at this point, because Mixon, he only played 6 games, right? But he caught over 80% of those passes he had. So half point PPR, full point PPR. He's definitely worth it, and that's a small sample size. But the thing is, he's caught 80% every year, around 80%, between 78 and 83%. So he's consistently done this his whole career. If he stays on the field, he's going to be worth it. As like you said, especially with their him being healthy and their quarterback being healthy at the same time, those things should be just beautiful. Once they match up.
We only really seen what you said, 6 games, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that if you pace those 6 games to 16, he would have hit 1,500 all yards. That would put up around 2019 he came pretty close to, right? 1,400, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's Zach Taylor. We all know. We all remember the last time we loved Todd Gurley was under Zach Taylor and Shanahan. You know what I mean? So Shanahan, McVay. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's from that McVay coaching family tree. He wants one bell cow type running back. So if you can get that type of player, if not the 24 spot, if he's early third round, I love Sergio Mix-a-Lot there. You know what I mean? He's a 20+ touch guy. Week in, week out when he's healthy.
Yeah, and I saw the comment from Joe Morley, which that's exactly why I'm going to wait and get him in the third round, because he's hurt so many people.
Yeah,
they're just not going to grab him.
I'd wait on Mixon. I'd wait and wait. I'm gonna wait on that one. If I don't get him, then I don't get him. That's the way I am.
The thing with Mixon last year is 80% of his stats came in one game.
Yeah.
He had a 40-point fantasy game, and besides that, it was 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
So
but that's why I'm going off these percentages, his catch percentage, right? Because those you can't manipulate with one game.
No. 10 targets, he's catching 8 balls, which is with that percentage.
Yeah. He's a really good talent. is he going to be consistent producer? He's like, you ever see on Twitter, it's like, which player is this? And it'll be like, the bar will be full for like praise. And then like that's Joe Mixon. Like everyone loves him. We all think he has the talent, but the production just hasn't really been there.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, with the better quarterback play consistently this season that does change. And then Miles Sanders over 5.3 yards per carry. I mean, he played 12 games with almost 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like these numbers are great numbers. If you put that out to the full season, I mean, he would be an elite level running back, right? So I'm in.
Yeah.
Like
what I'm
needed. I'm in.
What I'm gonna do after this, I want to see what the public thinks. I'm gonna definitely post this as a battle on SportsMe. I want to see what more people think.
Miles Sanders vs. Joe Mixon.
Miles Sanders did only catch 53% of his passes this season compared to the year before. The year before he caught almost 90%. So I expected to go somewhere in the middle between those two.
We got Brandon Brooks coming back. I mean, Brandon Brooks, when he went down with that Achilles in the offseason, I immediately downgraded everybody last year in my rankings. So with him coming back, theoretically, that Miles Sanders might have some value here. I mean, his biggest runs in 2019 was on that right side behind Brooks. You know what I mean? So I mean, like that's one thing that I was like, oh, this might be kind of bad. And then like Florio pointed out, Jalen Hurts, his mobility and the threat of him, rushing the ball himself, that's going to open up lanes for Booby. You know what I mean? BWB, what you got? How you feeling? I know you hate Joe Mixon.
Real quick, I do want to say I do worry a little bit about Hurts being similar to Lamar Jackson and stealing some of the work from it.
That's what I'd wait and see.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Not throwing it to him.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing it to him, tucking it and running.
Yeah, block for me.
Go ahead, Blake.
I agree. That was one of the points I was going to bring up, right? Jalen Hurts running the ball and is obviously going to be a factor in this. But at the same time, like Joe Mixon, in my opinion, is one of those guys where you can, like, it's all dependent upon if he's healthy. And to me, I don't take Joe Mixon until, he's there and it's like, all right, I guess I'll take him. Yeah. And I agree with Robbie. And then all of a sudden get rid of him because someone out there is going to be like, oh my God, dude, he wants me to take Joe Mixon?
I'm going to take Joe Mixon. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not taking him.
You know what we call that dude? You know what we call that dude? You know what we're going to call that dude from now on? His name is Ronaldo. His name is Ronaldo, and I had a Ronaldo in my one of my old home leagues I'm no longer a part of. We're going to now name that dude Ronaldo because he'd be the person to do that type of shit right there.
Hey, Ronaldo's the guy who took Todd Gurley in the second round last year.
Exactly. Oh,
it almost worked.
It almost worked. All right, Blake, hit us off with the next topic.
So outside of Najee Harris and Travis Etienne, what rookie running backs are you excited about, and what team would you feel would be a good fit?
This is where we help you win championships.
Yeah, Florio, what do you think?
So for me, let's get Javonte Williams on the next flight out to Seattle. Like that's all I want to happen in this year's NFL draft. Like if that happens, I will be very happy. Like I think they're gonna let Chris Carson walk. I don't think Pete Carroll is gonna invest like financially into a running back. I think he has shown us in the last few years that he'll just sign Marshawn Lynch or someone else off the street if his starter goes down. But Javonte Williams, I think, could be the next Chris Carson. Like he's a really physical runner. He's great between the tackles. He is what Seattle wants, right? Like an early down runner. But also, I think people are sleeping on him a little bit as a receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And Javonte Williams thinks that a lot of people are sleeping on him as a pass catcher, and he put up monstrous numbers on the ground. But what in like the interviews and stuff that I've watched and read, he talks up his passing game, like his ability to catch passes more than anything. So, and we saw like Chris Carson last year when they started throwing him the ball more. That's when Seattle's offense was clicking. So that's what I'm hoping for. I love Harris and Etienne, but let's get. I'm really rooting for Javonte Williams to end up in Seattle.
I like it, and he's going to carry a second round draft capital. I'm assuming in the actual draft, and then Seattle. That might be their first pick this year because they don't got no first round. So and this is something that Seattle's done in the past with Rashad Penny. Like when no one would trade back with them, they're like, fuck it, let's grab Rashad Penny at the back of this first. So I could see them if it's Javonte Williams is there, where they're at in the back of the second round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see it. I like that. I like that call too, Florio.
Go ahead,
Rob. Go ahead, Rob. Yeah, something to say.
I was gonna say, I want to shout out to last week's Rumboys After Dark panel. Javonte Williams was brought up not once, not twice, but 3 different times on the Rumboys Fantasy Network.
Like a real Italian, you gotta say it like a real Italian. Yeah, it happened 3 times.
3 times, you know what I'm saying?
3.
But no, so for real, I like the Javonte Williams pick, but I mean, I'm gonna make mine short, simple, and sweet. We've seen this now becoming a trend with jet sweep formations and offenses, the RPOs, things of that nature. We have all been impressed by Tony Pollard whenever he stepped in the absence or presence, or the presence of one Ezekiel Elliott. We all fell in love, especially on one Thanksgiving Day, with Antonio Gibson. I'm even going to now go to a different schools. We all fell in love with Brandon Ayuk. We all fell in love with Deebo Samuel, and we all fell in love with Laviska Shenault because of their abilities in those jet sweep and RPO options. Now I'm going to bring up Kenneth Gainwell in this year's draft out of Memphis. If you guys love a lot of gadget type players, this might be a guy that in Dynasty you could wait on. This could be a guy that after your draft, if you maybe made a mistake and, those late rounds, you could drop somebody that you're not too sure about and you just pick up and just see what the hell happens. I'm really enjoying Kenneth Gainwell at the running back position, but he also could go as a receiver.
Where you want him to go?
Man, that is super, super, super tough. I know I've been a truther on Gaskins and Ahmed down there in Miami.
What's his distinction going into this draft? Is he under the?
It depends who you ask. It depends who you ask. To be honest, me personally, I would draft him as a running back and pay him as a running back if I were a GM.
Of course, receivers are more expensive.
Exactly, but I mean, he has the ability to do both. I would love to maybe see him kind of maybe land in a place like Jacksonville alongside of Laviska, so that you have kind of the same thing that San Fran has in a Deebo Ayuk opposite sides of each other. If not, maybe Seattle late. So that now you can do a lot of different things with Russell with the way he extends plays with his legs.
I think Arizona would be a good look because this
Arizona. I want Isabella to break out, but I want Isabella to break out.
If you're gonna have Chase Edmonds and then Gainwell now as like
guy,
that's what I'm saying. Like, because I think he's gonna be a distinct what is that running back distinction? You know what I mean? I don't think teams are gonna draft him as a receiver. I think that helps. It helps his draft stock, I should say. But yeah, I think his strengths are as a running back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like that.
What you got, Clark?
Yeah. No, so I agree with Michael up there about Javonte Williams. And what's funny is I had Seattle. I had 2 teams written down. Seattle's one of them. But also the thing with Williams is he's also a good pass blocker, which is something that gets you on the field as a rookie running back.
Yeah, you need that if you're going to go to Seattle too. You know what I'm saying?
Right, Russell Wilson
can't cook when he's on his ass.
He's been complaining about how much he gets hit. They need someone.
Shout out to DJ Dallas, bro. You remember when DJ Dallas let him get like annihilated?
Yeah, that's why he's not a thing no more.
Yeah, I told y'all DJ Dallas wasn't going to be like that. But go ahead.
He whiffed on that blitz. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, everything else you mentioned was spot on with him. One downside is he's not the fastest player on the field. With his breakaway speed.
4 5, yeah.
And the other team I had that I mean, I'm going to steal this one from Bogard because we talked on the phone earlier and we both agreed on this one. The other team that I thought he would be good on was the Cardinals.
Yes.
Drake, his time there has come and gone very quickly.
Yes.
And now I think he would be a good. Yeah, Edmonds would be a great
are we
backup.
talking about the running back? Go ahead.
And Edmonds would be a great backup for him. So I like it.
I like that spot. All right. Well, what you got for me, BWB? What you cooking up over there?
I honestly, this is kind of out of the box. I'd like to see Rakeem Boyd in Miami. Personally,
that's really feasible too, because they'll be able to get him he's probably like a 3rd round guy at best.
I would like to see him in Miami. I think he would add an extra layer to their offense. I think he's a good physical back.
No love for Carol Gaskin, that bitch Carol Gaskin.
God, I'm financially never going to recover from this.
I'm sorry that I need a new nickname for Myles Gaskin.
You do.
The sworn enemy of the Tiger King.
I'm surprised nobody said Chuba Herbert.
And it doesn't help that he's from Florida.
Why'd you bring his name up? I'm going there.
So yeah, I mean, I was gonna bring Chuba Hubbard up, but I've at this point with my notes that I got written down, I was like, someone could say that already. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Rakeem Boyd in Miami personally. I just think he would add an extra layer, and I think it'd be neat. Plus, Rakeem Boyd he's a stud in my opinion. That's where I'm at.
I like that, man. That's definitely someone who I was aware of, but not like thinking anything, other than something I was aware of. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go with the Scientologist, man, Hubbard. You know what I mean? That was the Scientologist's name, right? Whatever.
Yeah,
Hubbard.
Earl Hubbard. Earl Hubbard.
Cool.
Yeah.
Boom. See, he already has a nickname. Give me Chuba Hubbard. And as far as landing spot, I feel like I want to take any of these running backs and put them in Arizona. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
wow.
Yeah, bro. Like just like Arizona needs a running back.
Aren't you? This is of course
the guy.
This is, of course, a fantasy show, but I just want to remind people he is a 49ers fan. So for 49ers faithful out there, get your man.
Listen, man, JWJ, bro.
Well, we don't want no running back in San Francisco.
I want to be.
We have a plethora of them, and it doesn't matter who you put in.
Bro, I'm on the practice squad, bro. We got a lot of running backs, bro.
The practice squad is nothing but running backs.
Yes. For real, though, and we sling them. We send it to other teams, you know what I'm saying? But I'm put any of these guys on Arizona for me. You know what I mean? And then who's another place that likes to draft running backs and they don't care how high they drafted the previous running back is New England. You know what I mean? It's just New England's always in the mix for a running back. A good running back that falls to the second or third. You know what I mean? They're on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as long as they don't
Cam to
pay
play
him.
running back.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Okay. BWB, let's hit them with the last topic for the show, and then we'll see where we go after that.
It's you. I just did that topic.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? Things like this. Listen, that was a test, Blake. You passed. Fine. All right, check this out. For fantasy purposes, let's imagine a world without Drew Brees because he still hasn't officially retired, right? And I feel like he's gonna be the guy that'll pop up and be like, "I'll play for one more year." And because if he does come back, it's like for like the minimum, you know what I mean? Like $1 million or something like that. You know what I mean? But as far as we know, he's going to retire. So let's live in this world. And so for fantasy purposes, if it's just either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, who do you prefer? Go ahead, pop this one off again, Florio.
So first, I'm not like I do think Drew Brees retires, but the video of him working out the other day is really throwing me off because imagine doing something for 20 years, retiring, and then in your first couple of weeks off, you go back to doing that thing. Like it doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't think Drew Brees wants to be done, but I'm thinking the Saints kind of want Drew Brees to be done. But I am since FSU, a Jameis Winston apologist.
Yes,
like I want Jameis Winston starting in New Orleans. I mean, the YOLO balls that he would be throwing up down the field would be amazing. I love the mentality that Jameis Winston plays with because it is so great for fantasy. He doesn't care if he's going to turn the ball over. He is going to take his shots downfield, and when the receiver comes down with it, it is going to be great. So I want it to be, and I also
defensive back.
Yeah, who cares about that?
Either way, it's going to be great.
As long as you are not a Saints fan, we're good. But I think Jameis Winston would be the best case scenario for Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and that is what I care about for fantasy here. So I want it to be Winston, although Sean Payton loves him some Taysom Hill, and I just have this feeling that it's going to be Hill, and it's going to be disgusting for fantasy because it's going to be not as good for Alvin Kamara or Taysom Hill, and Michael Thomas, and it's just going to be a lot of Hill running, and Hill isn't going to be good enough to be like a top 10 quarterback. It is just going to be very frustrating.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm a famous Jameis guy with you. Clock, what you got?
Man, All right, so I was on board with you guys until this morning. So I started like looking into this stuff, right? Because I was even as I was going through these stats, I was trying to nitpick these stats to make them work for me.
Of course.
And
a good analyst will
like
do
cherry pick them for what I. And then after a certain point, I'm like, all right, I can't do this anymore. So Taysom, he started 17 games total, so basically one season across 3 seasons, 17 games. So we have like one season of sample size of games for him to evaluate. During that time, he has been more accurate than Winston. He's definitely thrown less interceptions. His average depth of target is further than Jameis Winston's, which is shocking. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, I couldn't believe that when I was looking this up.
How much further in A-dot are we talking?
I don't remember. It wasn't much. It was about a yard or something.
That could be one of those nitpicking stats, like, oh, he's a yard above.
Yeah, but who would believe that when you tell them that? You know what? You tell your average person that Taysom Hill throws the ball further. People are like, no way.
they're not going to believe you until you show them a chart or something like that. Make sure that chart is represented properly though, and not in the shape of anything weird.
Although he did turn the ball over 3, I believe he had 3 fumbles this season. That's the only 3 fumbles he's had. And he's,
those are 30-year-old fumbles too, man.
He also rushes. Like he runs the ball, right? So for fantasy, obviously that's valuable. So I mean, he has fantasy points just written all over him. But you don't need LASIK to see them, unlike Jameis.
Oh, I'm about to come with some iron. Go ahead. Oh, I'm ready.
Hold on. He said he could see it because he can see it without LASIK, though.
The world isn't ready for LASIK Jameis. I'm just gonna say.
No more famous Jameis. LASIK Jameis.
No more squinting after every interception.
Right?
Did I just do that?
No, yeah, see, that's how he knew what he was doing. He was squinting after that just so he could set up like, oh, well, once I get this LASIK surgery, I'll be good.
I'll know which players are on my team and I'll do all of them.
We should color code the jerseys or something.
Hold on, I got you now. Clock, I got you now. I just saw it all in my head.
His points, bro.
I just saw it all in my head because Taysom can scramble and he is a little bit more talented mobile wise than Jameis.
Of course, Jameis has never been considered.
Look, we see this in stand-up comedy all the time where a comedian will refer back to a joke. I'm gonna do what here in analytics where I refer back to a tape. Earlier in the show, I mentioned Kenneth Gainwell, where he could be a perfect landing spot. Send Kenneth Gainwell to the New Orleans Saints, and Taysom Hill's going to be the starter. Now we could just run jet sweeps, and we could just do RPOs all damn day. And guess what, Michael Thomas? During this offseason, you don't have to worry about learning the other 8 routes. Just keep running the 7 all day. Just keep hitting the slant, and we got you, baby. Emmanuel Sanders hit a streak every once in a while. We'll figure out whoever we get at tight end because Watson's old as hell.
I like Troutman. Troutman's the guy. Let's keep
Troutman's nice. I'll give you that.
And you could still put Jameis in there when you run the gadget plays at quarterback.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
So you're telling me,
or you can put Hill in. Yeah. Well, but I'd still gotta say that I want Jameis Winston, even though I cannot stand Seminoles offensive players. Seminoles can produce some corners. They can produce the hell out of some corners, but they cannot produce anything else on offense. And I mean, but as long as you're going 34, as long as you're going 30 for 30 and damn near 5K yards, like I mean, bro, I gotta see what you can do if you got this new LASIK surgery.
The next 30 for 30 we see Winston is on ESPN of how he has a hell of a comeback story as the starting quarterback for the Saints. That's where I'm going. I'm going, my man, infamous Winston.
Hey, Winston, I'm putting on the glasses for you, pal.
He's trying to retire from being the president of the Pick Six Club because he is right now in office. You know what I mean? I swore when he got on the field in the playoffs, I was like, here it comes. He's going to throw a pick six. I was like, here it comes. And when he actually threw a touchdown, he couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? He was like, LASIK, give me money.
He should have never came out of that game after that throw. That's my opinion.
Right? I don't know. And you know what, too? Maybe it was in the air that Drew Brees perhaps was going to retire. So they were like, all right, just to do him a solid, they weren't going to let him go out like that. You know what I mean? When really they should have just been like, it's time to win. You know what I mean? Keep Jameis in there. That was the biggest spark of the game they had. You know what I mean? But Blake,
Mike, you like that? Glasses and crab legs. Give us money.
Hey, I will say this though, because I know we're touching on the QBs, but I mean, let's go around the horn again. Oh, actually, real quick, Blake, before you go, who you like for fantasy purposes, because I want to know how this affects like Michael Thomas of whoever it may be, or Alvin Kamara. You know what I mean? We can rapid fire that after. But so Blake, who you taking here?
I like Jameis Winston, mainly because it's something that I brought up a ton on my show. But think about it this way. So Bruce Arians, right, he runs a super complicated offense, right? It's all wide receiver-based decisions.
It's complicated. Just throw it down the field.
Okay. All right, asshole. But think about it this way. There's a lot of wide receiver decisive routes. It's either break in or break out, or break in or go, run a fly. So something to think about. Carson Palmer, his first year with Bruce Arians, he had 24 touchdowns, 22 picks. The following year he got hurt, but then his second full year with Bruce Arians, he had 35 touchdowns, 11 picks. So what that says to me is that obviously with that complicated offense, it takes time to learn it, and it takes time to get a feel for your wide receivers, when they're going to break, everything like that. Jameis Winston was in that same boat. He had 1 year with Bruce Arians, and he went 30-30. Obviously, not a stellar stat line by any means, but something to think about.
You're 24-22 with Carson Palmer is what you
exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is in a different offense, I think he excels because
you're trying to get him to your Steelers, aren't you?
I wanted him to do it.
I would love him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, me too.
All right. I was like, hey, let's get Jameis Winston. Instead, we were like, let's bring over Dwayne Haskins. And you know what? First couple rounds, let's draft a couple more wide receivers this year. Dude, I like Jameis Winston personally.
Everything you said about Bruce Arians' offense is true, and my God, it just makes Tom Brady look even better. So we got to stop that.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. It took Tom Brady about 4 games, and he's like, okay, I got this.
A quarter of a season. With, what I'm saying? It took a whole bucket of avocado ice cream. You know what I mean? Just to get
and no off season.
And no off season. You know what I'm saying? But all right. So how about this, Mike? We'll rapid fire real quick. If Michael Thomas is on the board and it's Taysom Hill, are we curving him? We're taking a chance, and he's probably a second rounder.
So in this mock draft today,
yeah,
he went in the middle of the 3rd round.
Oh,
middle of the 3rd, and I had a chance to take him, and I didn't. I took Taylor in round 1. In round 2, I took Antonio Gibson, and I was like, I feel like I should just take Michael Thomas. And then Darren Waller fell to me in round 3, and I was like, you know what? I'm going with the tight end.
I do that.
But Michael Thomas, I think he went 3-7 overall. That just seems so late.
But Mike, just as well as I do that you probably could have. After that happened, you were probably consoling yourself it's okay because I can get I could get a good
wide receivers went first.
I mean, my first 3 receivers were Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, all of which are guys that I love. So I was.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, I am on the 0 wide receiver train hard this year. I am.
Yes.
I want 0 wide receiver to replace 0 running back as the go-to strategy because it is just smarter in my opinion. Running a wide receiver is the deepest position in the game. I got T. Higgins in round 7 today. It shouldn't be.
I knew that. I knew that I liked you for
there's so many just gems in the wide receiver position that you'll find even at the very end of the draft, I'll take wide receivers.
What was my stat last year, Justin? It was what we had about you had about 32 100% fully competent running backs that you could have gotten. Maybe we could even stretch out about 36. I think it was 36, but you had about 92 receivers that you could have went out and got, and they could have been a guy.
After that week 1, it went down 92, went down to 30 something that you're comfortable with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the running backs went down to like 12.
Yeah,
It's that.
You know what I mean? Okay, so Clark, what are we doing here with Michael Thomas? If it's
middle of the third round, yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah,
I think I've said I'm taking like 5 players in the third round now, though. So
I'm already in group threads in my home leagues where I've been trash talking Michael Thomas. So I'm hoping, like, you know, and everybody's on that boat. So I'm just like, yes, give me the Michael Thomas in the third round. Give me Frank.
I mean, like, the general consensus is like he runs these short routes, right? Like that's all he can do. But I mean, but yet he led the NFL 2 years ago. He was the number 1 wide receiver. So even doing that, who cares?
Yeah.
I care about my fantasy points. Like, give me the fantasy points.
He 2 years ago set the record for most games with 10 plus catches and 100 plus yards. That means 10 times I think he did it. That's a free 20 points right there.
Yeah.
Right?
No, 100%. I mean, my temper check.
But people say it as a negative thing, and I'm like, I don't care what route you run as long as you catch the ball.
It's only a negative thing. So here's where I'm now going to separate fantasy from reality. If you have played football, if you have watched football, yes, being one-dimensional is a bad thing. If you are in fantasy,
ask that little kid.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you are, but if you play fantasy. You know, and if you are good at that one thing, and that one thing makes you effective and makes you a stat producer, and stats convert over into fantasy points, well, then for fantasy, you don't give a damn. You don't care. Let's just be real. Let's just let's just keep it player, as we always like to say here on the network, and let's just keep it real. So let's remove the fact that you know we call them slant boy whenever we're on the internet, and we want to make our jokes and post our memes. At the end of the day, he's still a top producing wide receiver as long as the jury is still out on Michael Thomas. And like you said, Mike, I could possibly get him in the middle of the third. And that's amongst. I know that you guys over there at the network are a bunch of sharks. You guys have your analysts. You guys have your analytics and everything. You got spreadsheets. You know, if that's happening, I'll put it like this: if that's happening at the NFL Network, just imagine what's going to happen for you guys that are out there when you're actually when you're up against, you know, the sharks of the sharks, the people that they have nothing else to do but to sit back and look at fantasy data. You know, Michael has to sit back and, you know, control. He has to make an appearance on the NFL app. Yeah, he has to make it. He's got to be on set. He's got to be ready for hair and makeup. Like, you don't have that responsibility. So just imagine if that's happening in his league. Think about what's going to happen in your league, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, dial up all the Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying? Give me Michael Thomas in the third round. I mean, doesn't he look? I mean, am I crazy? Because people don't.
He's Frankenstein. He's Frankenstein. Yeah.
Like, forehead. Yeah.
Like, bro, look at his dome piece. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Blake, what are we doing with Frankenstein?
Yeah, I mean, what hasn't been said, man? Honestly, what hasn't been said.
I'm like, wait, you know what? Yeah, I do. I like everybody's version on this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like everyone's version throughout the whole episode.
Yeah, you know, and you know, if anyone disagrees, I would say, well, my version's better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, you know what? And while we got Florio here, you know, anybody got any questions, man? I mean, we did actually have a SportsMe question, if you didn't mind, Florio. Okay, shoot. So this is coming from my man, my little bro Ethan from the E on the Mic Sports podcast, and he wanted to know just how does it feel to work for the NFL Network, and like, you know, like, if you could look back on your journey, like, how could you sum that up, like all the way to this point?
Surreal. It is surreal. I've been doing this a while. I started writing about fantasy when I was in college. Thank God my own website that I built is gone because I gave out some terrible advice back then. But from there,
nothing's ever gone from the internet.
This is luckily, like, I've searched for it. I can't find it. If you guys find it, please delete it. But
I will find it.
We're gonna share.
Continue, brother.
No, so yeah, I've bounced around from a lot of different companies. The biggest thing I could say is if you want to do this first you got to get in with some good people, and you guys got a great crew here. You got to get in with people that want to see you succeed as much as you want to succeed. But also, I think you gotta. It's a fine line between like knowing your worth, because a lot of people are going to ask you to work for free in this industry, and you will have to probably for a little bit. As much as I hate to say that, but know when you get to a point where like you don't need to work for free anymore. Say yes to a lot of opportunities, and my biggest thing is when you are given those opportunities, kick the door down, because you do not know how often they are going to come. Work as hard as you can, and if you work hard and you network in this industry, I know it's hard, but I think you'll make it.
Amen.
Love it. You know what I'm saying? And we're good, man.
Let's get wrap ups. Yeah.
I was gonna say I have a million things I want to say, but you know what? We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing right on up. Michael F. Florio, and the F stands for phenomenal. If you know, because I don't have good spelling. You know what I mean?
Starts with the PH, but hey, shoot.
Like I said, I don't have good spelling. You know what I mean?
Lil Wayne said that in a song, so it's fine.
Bars. Florio, we're really quick. Where can the people find you? What is coming up next from you? Anything that articles or from your staff, interns, or what's happening at the network that we can know about?
Yeah, we got a free agency show coming up soon. I'll be pushing out. I'm on the podcast with Marcus every single week. I'm writing articles each week, NFL.com. So just continue to check there. And social media, Michael F. Florio everywhere, basically. Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse. If you have Clubhouse, I'm on there now. So Twitter is probably the best spot, though. Follow me, Michael F. Florio. You get everything in one neat spot.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, Clock. Let them know, Clock, where they can find you. And know what you got.
Guys, find me on YouTube, on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. I appreciate it. And then on Twitter, hit me up if you have any questions, anything. Always feel free to hit me up, DM me, whatever. I'll answer whatever questions you have. I'm here for you guys.
Yep. Robbie J.
Follow me at Rumboys Robbie on Twitter, at Rumboys spelled with a Z, N-E-T. On Instagram, Rumboys Fantasy Network. Literally just Google us at this point in time. We just gonna keep growing, keep doing big things. Catch us this week, Thursday. Heath Cummings is gonna be on. Next Tuesday, James Coe, and then next Thursday, Marcus Grant, and many more to come to wrap up your guys' fantasy March Madness here on the Rumboys Fantasy Network. We are working on getting our Rumboys spelled with a Z, N-E-T, Twitter account back up for you guys. Hopefully we can have that back up and running and functioning for you guys. But thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Florio, for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it was a blast, man.
Yeah, man, this was awesome. And man, I can't wait to go to war with you, Mr. Florio, because I think we're gonna be in that my man Jay the Plugs League. You know what I mean?
Let's go. I'm in there.
We gotta get you on SportsMe.
What's funny is the same day Jay talked to you, I reached out to Marcus Grant, and he is like, yeah, no problem, I'll be in this. And then when me and Plug were talking, I'm like, this is wild.
We're all going to be in this league, man. You know what I'm saying? But and before we close out, my man Blitzed with Blake, let them know where the people can find you, brother.
You can find me just by searching Blitz with Blake on any social media, any podcast platforms. The only thing is on Twitter, you got to just put WIT because they don't let me put the H. It's way too long, apparently. So, but
hood with it, bro.
They don't want to see me winning over there. So.
They don't want you to have a bigger pool than Kanye.
And y'all can find me at the GMM Network on everything. You know what I mean? You can subscribe right here to the Rumboys Fantasy Network. You know what I'm saying? We here broadcasting live several days a week. You know what I mean? Catch me this Friday, Rumboys After Dark. You know, we where we let our hair down and we keep it lit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all our special guests. Thank you, Michael Florio, again.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
This was awesome, bro. You know what I'm saying? And everybody out there, give me money.
Cheers to me. Cheers to you, all the Rump boys and girls. What it do? Dilly dilly. We outie.
Can I roll some? Can I keep it lit? Can I smoke some? Can I be about a grip? Can I stack up? Can I say money talk? I don't flat guns. Can I play a low key? Man, masked up? Can I keep it on me? Stay strapped up.